Hello, FlossTube. My name is Rhea, and I am the Blue Coast Stitcher. Welcome to my channel. Today is January 1st, 2025. Can't believe I'm saying that. Happy New Year. I hope whether you celebrate a holiday in December or you don't celebrate a holiday in December, that December was very good to you, and that you were able to spend time with those who are most meaningful to you. And if you were able to celebrate whatever it is that you celebrate, and you did so with so much joy and laughter and love in your hearts. It's hard to believe 2024 is over. 2025 is here. Sit back, grab a beverage of your choice. I'm right now drinking a hot cup of tea. It's Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday. We're just getting out of the twilight zone between Christmas and New Year's. Wednesday, January 1st, 2025. I gotta start getting used to that if I write a check. That's always how it goes. The first few checks you write in the new year, you put the wrong year down. Anyways, yeah. And before I dive into life update, etc., I want to say thank you to Pam and Steph of Just Keep Stitching for calling my channel out and myself out on their channel earlier in December. December is always a busy month for me, so I didn't have a chance to properly do a FlossTube about that. The call out came around the time I was processing the previous FlossTube, because this is FlossTube number 14. So as I was processing, I had already finished FlossTube 13 and was processing it and getting ready to upload it when I woke up one morning to a couple of messages from friends saying, guess what, Rhea? You've been called out by Pam and Steph. And I'm like, oh my God, the original FlossTube queens. And I've been following them. They're one of the first FlossTube channels I discovered. Maybe I discovered them in 2019 or 2020. I know a lot of us got on the FlossTube bandwagon around 2020, and I think I was just starting to get onto that around 2019. It's all a blur. But very kind words that Pam had for me and my channel, and I greatly appreciate it. So if you are a new viewer via Pam and Steph, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're a new viewer not via Pam and Steph, welcome, welcome, welcome. All are welcome here. I'm a very inclusive channel, and yeah, I was just flabbergasted. I still am. Almost a month later, I'm still flabbergasted that I got called out, because I am not a FlossTuber that has like the Saltboat Stitcher and other channels that have like the wall of absolutely stunning framed finishes behind them, or I'm showing a lot of finishes or FFOs and etc. I am not a prolific stitcher. I stitch purely for enjoyment and happiness. I don't keep track of my number of stitches. I do not set massive goals. And so just to be called out was just, yeah, I'll just have to say it was an honor. So enough of that rambling. Thank you, Pam and Steph. So, and if you are a returning viewer, welcome. If it's your first time here, please like and subscribe. It's a cozy little corner of the FlossTube world. Got my mug of hot tea. It's New Year's Day. I'm tired. My whole household's tired. Let's get into the life update. I have a full house. 6 adults in this house. Our oldest, Laura, she lives over in the UK. She has her doctorate it was in the Department of Earth Sciences, but her specialty is more planetary sciences. And then you niche, if you know anybody in the science world, you know you niche down. And so her niche is meteorites, and she's currently doing a postdoc position just south of Oxford. And she arrived December 17th. She flew in Everything went smoothly for her. I was really happy because, you know, sometimes air travel can be, we've had it too. We've had perfect air travel, and then we've had air travel that is like, you're delayed, you're missing connecting flights, you're not sleeping for 36 hours because yeah. But hers went perfectly. Her plane landed early and she had no issues getting through customs. The only issue she had with customs was a present that she had for my husband, Dave, which she had picked up at a space store in Oxford. And it was this little planetary, it's like a little light like this, and it's 3D, and it's kind of neat. And I guess the customs officials didn't know what this was, but she had to open it, and then she didn't wrap anything. She was smart. I told her, don't wrap anything. So if you do get flagged by customs, they don't have to unwrap what you've wrapped. So she's lucky because, again, they had to open the box, take a look, what is this? Because the x-ray machines were like, what the hell? So anyways, other than that, her trip went smoothly. She landed, she was supposed to land around 3, I think, but she landed at 2:30. Oh no, she was supposed to land at 3:30 and she arrived just before 3. And then you have to disembark from the plane. And of course she was in economy, so she was at the back. So she was one of the last ones to come off. Then you got to get through customs, and then you got to find your luggage. And she was exhausted. She lives in a village, I would say is about an hour and a half from Heathrow, west of London. So it probably took her a good hour and a half to 2 hours. She ended up hiring a taxi to drive her from her flat to the terminal at Heathrow in the early morning English hours. And so she was tired. And she gets off the plane. You can just, you know, the weary traveler. And hey, there's a Starbucks behind me. Do you want a coffee? Oh, yes, please. So first thing I did was buy her a coffee. And then we got her into the car and we took her out for dinner. We stopped in London for dinner on the way home just because it was a nice stopping point. We're 3 hours from Pearson. Right now, we used to be only an hour away. Now we're 3 hours. So we stopped for dinner on the way home, and then halfway through dinner, you can see her hit the jet lag wall. And unfortunately, my father-in-law ended up in hospital about a week or 2 before Laura came home, so early December-ish. He had a bit of a fall, nothing broken. He has Parkinson's with a bit of dementia, so he ended up in hospital. And there's still a lot of struggles. He's gone from having good days to having good moments. So we had a lot of that on our plate as well. And then Laura came home the 17th. He was discharged to home with home care and PSWs around the 20th, I think. Because that's when my son Daniel and his girlfriend Kate came home the 20th, the Friday. So we have Dave, myself, our oldest daughter Laura from England, second daughter Amanda, who's still living at home, and then our youngest is Daniel, and he is in Kingston at Queen's University working on his PhD in mechatronic engineering. And I will link, his department did a Christmas YouTube video. It was 2 hours. I will link the video below and post the timestamps of the 2 times that my goofy kid shows up with his flotation device, because his robotic research project has to do with marine surface. So he works with a remote control boat. So my oldest Laura says she boils rocks, and then Daniel plays with remote control boats. That's part of their higher education. So yeah, so my father-in-law came home around that day, and they were, settling in with a new system. He now has a hospital bed in his room, and my husband was there helping to get things set up, PSWs lined up. My husband's one of 5, so his other siblings helped a bit. My brother-in-law is there now, but I think he has to go back today because he's got to go back to work, and he lives in Waterloo. So anyways, so it's been a bit of a juggling act, but find the rhythm. There's a few things we have to iron out in January right now because it's the holidays, right? Everything's on hold, especially in the healthcare system. Unless it's an emergency, pretty much everything's on hold till next week. And that's when the kids go back to school, everything. So anyways, we ended up celebrating Christmas on Christmas Eve, because Daniel and Kate had to go to her side of the family Christmas Day. So this FlossTube will be a lot of cross stitch. And then I'm going to share at the end, so you don't have to stick around if you don't want to. I got a nice stack of books for Christmas for my family. Excuse me. And it's all nonfiction, general interest nonfiction, and then some books that I was getting for a in-depth continuing education course that I have started before Christmas as well, that I really need to work on. Probably next week after Laura goes back. Laura goes back Monday, so we're taking her shopping tomorrow. First clothes, because she needs some new clothes. She's very tiny. She's like 5'4" and maybe 110 pounds. And so she has a hard time finding clothes sometimes. And she needs some new Levi jeans because they have the sizing that suits her very tiny frame. So there's a Levi store in London, so we'll take her there. Tomorrow's the plan, because by then the shopping crowds should be gone by now. We're not a big fan of shopping crowds. And speaking of shopping crowds, so Daniel came home the 20th. The 21st, he went to London. He and his girlfriend went to London. They used to live in London. And he had to get a haircut. And then they did Covent Garden Market to get a few things. And they decided to go to Masonville. And Daniel learned to listen to his intuition. So it's the Saturday before Christmas in London, Ontario. If you know, you know. And he walked into Masonville Mall and he thought, this is not a good idea. But he went. People were sick. Everyone was sick. Sure enough, Christmas Eve, I could notice at the end of the day he was seeming a bit off Christmas Eve. And he was complaining about a sore throat. He said, I woke up with a scratchy throat. I just thought it would go away. Now I've got a sore throat. So Christmas morning, he had to cancel. So Kate went to her family by herself. Christmas Day came back the 27th. And Daniel was sick here. Poor guy. And turns out Dave's sister's son, our nephew, who lives here in town, he also got sick Christmas Eve. And we're supposed to be hosting the big Jenkins party the 29th, because we have the space. We're gonna have like 25 people because Laura's home. She wants to see her cousins. I had ordered large veggie tray, large fruit tray, spinach dip with pumpernickel. I had everything planned. I had ham for 25 people. I had chicken for people who don't want chicken. I was going to make an Asian pineapple orange chicken. Had everything planned out. Potatoes for mashed potatoes, and then had everything figured out. And then Daniel got sick, but I continued pushing forward just in case. And then the 27th, Dave says our nephew tested positive for COVID. And we said, well, what about Daniel, right? And so the 28th, the day before the party, I'm soaking sunflower seeds for my vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free cheesecake that I'm making. Amanda's getting ready to make something, processed, right? And I had items like the fruit tray and the veggie tray paid and ready to be picked up the next morning. And so the 28th is it's a 50-50 chance Daniel has COVID. It's like, well, where do you get a COVID test? Because you used to get here in Ontario COVID tests pretty readily. And then they kind of died off. But now I guess Shoppers is selling COVID tests. So Dave's one sister says, I have some COVID tests. when you come by to pick up the chairs, because we had arranged to pick up chairs because we didn't have 25 chairs for 25 people. We had, you know, folding like big 9-foot tables, but we didn't have enough chairs. She goes, I'll give you our COVID testing kit. We have to pay her back for it. And so as soon as Dave came home, he said, okay, Daniel, we're testing you. We got to be 100% sure because Grandma's coming and Grandpa was just in the hospital, and the last thing Grandpa and Grandma need is COVID, just with everything going on. So he tested late morning, early afternoon of the 28th, and he goes, because you know how when you do the test, you do the swab up the nose and it goes into the buffering solution, and then you drop it into the little white test thing, and it has control, and then whether or not you're positive or negative for COVID. So the buffer solution with the sample from his nasal passage, as soon as it hit the paper, even before the test line came up, it said, you have COVID. It was vibrant COVID. So it was like, yeah, and I had been feeling run down and really tired. So Dave noticed his heart rate, because he wears his Apple Watch to monitor his sleep, and he noticed his resting heart rate had increased, which is a sign of COVID. So chances are we have been fighting COVID as well. So we canceled the party, just to better be safe than sorry. Dave's other sister, she has they're adult children, but they're type 1 diabetics. My mother-in-law was supposed to come. She had a friend who was going to sit with my father-in-law because he can't go anywhere anymore. And so we didn't want her to catch COVID and then bring it back home to my father-in-law, because that's the last thing, and they're 83 and 85. So we canceled. You know, and hindsight, it was a good thing. The weather ended up being really crappy. It rained. We had snow, and then it warmed up and it rained. So there was heavy fog, heavy rain, because the ground was partially frozen. The rain pooled, so there was some flooding. We were okay, but other places had some isolated flooding. The fog was really thick. The wind picked up off the lake, because now we got winds coming from the south and then switching to the north. So in hindsight, it was a good thing we canceled. I was feeling run down and tired, so I had mixed emotions because I was really looking forward to seeing everyone. But I was also relieved because I just didn't feel physically or mentally up to hosting 25 people, especially with Daniel sick. He's on the mend. He's feeling better. I'm feeling better. I'm still a bit tired. COVID always makes me tired. So I just upped my vitamin C, my vitamin D, my zinc, elderberry, lots of fluids. We had a nice day, opened the windows to air out the house and just make sure I got lots of rest. And we got so much food. Picked, Sunday the 29th, picked up the veggie tray, and the fruit trays are huge, just loaded. And then the spinach and pumpernickel. And then there's my cheesecake, the ham for 25 people, cooked that with a maple mustard glaze with some nice spices like cloves and stuff. And mashed potatoes, roasted squash, roasted carrots, and it is what it is. Today, we're probably going to baggie whatever fruits we've been eating. Luckily, we all have healthy appetites. So the fruits, we're going to baggie whatever fruits left. I might make a frittata with some of the vegetables. There's cucumber, so you can't really do much with that. Just eat it. Freeze the vegetables. As Dave cut up the ham, we packaged everything up and put it in the freezer and just left some ham in the basement fridge that everybody could eat at. I'm allergic to pork and poultry. I am mostly plant focused in my eating. I'm not vegan, but I'm not omnivore, completely omnivore anyways. I can't eat ham. I can't eat turkey. So everything's in the freezer in little portion-sized containers. So if they want something, they take it out of the freezer. There's six adults, 5 of which do eat ham and turkey, and the rest of us, and we all eat vegetables. Last night we had sushi. I ordered sushi because I knew everyone would be sick of ham and turkey, and that I can eat. I can do seafood, so I enjoyed that. And yeah, I'm still feeling a bit run down, but I'm feeling pretty good. Dave's noticed his heart rate has settled down, so the plan is, originally Daniel was going to come with us to London to get some new clothes as well, but he is on the mend, but he's not going to go because it is Masonville we're going to, and I think Masonville on the 21st scarred him. So yesterday was New Year's Eve, and we usually stay close to home, games. We had sushi. I made oliebollen. If you're Dutch, you know what oliebollen is. It's just dough, deep fried, and then dipped in icing sugar. We do an apple cinnamon oliebollen. So Amanda and Laura, I gave them the reins as I did some things around the house, and I walked them through the recipe. And I realized, because I make, if you know, if you're a cook or a baker or whatever, you kind of make little notations, a little post-it note here, post-it note there, but in your brain, it's all cohesive. But if somebody like my daughters look at it, it's not cohesive. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to write it down in a better format that is cohesive for everyone, because not everyone's in my head. So, so we're doing that. So there's lots of leftovers, and I slept in, I worked out, I'm enjoying tea, I'm tired, I'm lazy, I'm doing a floss tube. All right, now let's get into the stitchy part. The whole reason we're here. So December was the Jingle Ball. I had earlier hummed and hawed, am I not going to do the Jingle Ball? I signed up. It was December 6th, 7th, and 8th, hosted by Stephanie of Lindy Stitches. And she had the Blue Flower, Tiny Modernist. She had, a bunch of designers, right? So I signed up for the classes, and that weekend we were putting up our tree. We got a brand new tree for the cats. I probably, in the beginning, you'll see some videos, because Artemis, our one cat Artemis, she's the Christmas tree destroyer, but it wasn't destroyed. It was a 9-foot tree because we have really high ceilings. It turned out really well. And that weekend it was a lot of decorating. So I signed up for classes, but I just kind of poked in here and there. I did purchase a number of patterns, PDFs, so I was sharing that. But I did not do any stitching. I took the classes, but I haven't kitted the classes that I signed up for. But I did poke in. I have to look at some of the videos. You'll see what I mean when I show you the classes I signed up for. So these are not kitted. These are just the PDFs of the classes that I had signed up for in the Jingle Ball. Again, I just poked my head in, and then when I could. But anyways, first one, I don't know what order. I can't not remember what order these classes were in that weekend. So this is just a random order of classes that I signed up for that I didn't attend, kind of, but I have the stuff. And luckily these designers also included very good instructions on how to finish these pieces. So the first was the Festive Forest by the Blue Flower. And again, I don't have the threads, I don't have the fabric for any of these yet, but I have the pattern, and I have some kitted Blue Flower projects that I haven't started yet. But anyways, I really love her stuff. That was that. And there's some Roxy Floss Co., DMC, Week Dye Works, Classic Color Works threads listed in this. And it just, this gorgeous, gorgeous cushion. Beth Twist, Heartstring Samplery. She just gave us, I don't remember if this was a class or not, decorative pin making. Printed that off, but the main reason I signed up was the Midwinter Morn Wall Tart. Excuse me. And there it is. It's a PDF printer. I have an Epson that actually prints pretty good, so hopefully the camera picks it up. So there's that. I signed up for the Lindy Stitches Up on the Rooftop class, which was these 3 I love her patterns. They're just so colorful, so happy. So these 3 stockings. So she had a class. We were having internet issues. It was an evening class I was taking. And I just remember my internet crashed and burned, so I just gave up. But again, she includes really excellent, they all did, excellent instructions. And I'm sure there are some, I have not been able to catch up on FlossTube at all. There are FlossTubers out there that did complete their class assignment. I hate school. So, oops, sorry. I didn't do start. But anyways, the second one was Stacy Nash's Gingerbread House Sewing Book. I mean, how adorable is that? It's like, oh my God. Gorgeous. And then the last one was from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, and it was the Bryson Bentley Badger Standing Flat Fold Class. And I was able to look in on that class quite a bit. Thoroughly enjoyed watching their project come together. But isn't he handsome? So this is funny. So as I said, Laura lives, because Bryson Badger. Bentley Badger. Bryson Bentley Badger. My daughter Laura lives in England. And she rents a flat in the UK, England especially, is different than here in Canada when it comes to renting. And if you follow the news, you know England, early December had some really nasty, I think 2 really big storms come through. Her flat is in the country in a converted barn. And she's had mice before, but all of a sudden she noticed, because she's on the 2nd floor and then there's the attic above her bedroom, she was hearing a lot of mice. So she called the letting agency, who sent a pest control management company in. And this is just before she was leaving. And she was in her bedroom and she couldn't sleep, because after he laid his bait, it got really busy, because I think the mice discovered the bait that was part of the control. You know what I mean. And so she couldn't sleep. It was so loud. She said it got louder. And I said, well, I'll give it a few days. She goes, yeah, and then she's got to leave, right? Because this was like the 15th, 16th, and she's leaving the 17th. And so the 16th, she called the letting agency to say, hey, since he laid this, it's getting louder. Should I be concerned? I'm going away for 3 weeks. I don't want to come home and find mice have been in my flat. They haven't entered my flat yet, but I don't want, right? And they said, oh no. She said, unfortunately, all their flats, most of their places that they call it renting, have had problems because of the storm. So all the animals, the mice, are looking for some place to get out of the water. She said one flat, I guess one building, I'm not sure, not a house, but a building, had a badger infestation. It's like, what? So I said, at least you don't have a badger infestation, because they're bigger than mice. And she knows it's not rats, it's mice. So Bentley the badger reminds me of Laura and her mouse situation. She's hoping, she's kind of nervous, but anyways, I think it's fine. It just takes a few days for the bait to kick in and the population to decline. So we'll see. What time does she flies out Monday the 6th, but it's evening our time. So then she lands Tuesday morning the 7th, and she's hired a car service to bring her home from Heathrow. So we'll find out Tuesday. Okay, what did I buy at the Jingle Ball? I did buy some stuff. I got the ornaments book, Baubles. Beautiful, beautiful. There's some more. All the different designers. Teresa Kogut. Yeah, she was always, she's always part of the Jingle Ball, etc., right? Hands-on designs. The usual FlossTube offenders. we have to keep our tree cat proof. So my thought is maybe try and do some ornaments. I'm not going to show the pattern, but this was Lindy Stitch's freebie to Santa's. So I got that. Jeanette Douglas, Happy Christmas, little ornament booklet. I'm going to the Evertote Jeanette Douglas retreat this coming fall, end of October 2025. I've yet to stitch something from Jeanette Douglas. Festive Mini Trees from Hello by Liz Matthew. Is that cute? The Joy ornament from Liz Matthew. I'll probably do this one here with the neutral fabric. Let me cover up the pattern. This is the Mini Merry and Bright freebie that Liz Matthews had. It's just a very bright and colorful pillow. Oh, this was adorable. The printer didn't print too well, but it's Santa and the Wool Makers by Hello by Liz Matthews. Isn't that cute? Oh my goodness. Third Day of Christmas sampler and tree. I don't know if I'll collect the whole set. I just picked up a couple that caught my eye, and I'll probably more likely just do it the traditional square. I don't know. We'll see. Again, this is just going into my collection. First Day of Christmas, which was a partridge and a pear tree, of course. I just love the colors. And then signing up for the Bryson Bentley Badger class from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery was the first time. I seriously looked at those two designers. So I got a couple of their patterns because they had a lot of deals, right? Exclusive. Cooper's Christmas Memory. We have a fox down the street. Sometimes pops up. Coulter the fox. So these are cute little smalls. Family Fox. I'm on a fox kit. I don't know. They do such cute little animal faces at the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. These are the finishing instructions. Oh, here we go. So for Jeanette Douglas, I got the Happy Life set. That's a duplicate Christmas set 1 and 2. Little small pillows. I want to experiment, do some more smalls, because I always tend to gravitate to, wants to focus on my face, larger projects, as you will see later on. So there's that. And then I did Happy Life Autumn 1 and 2 as well. I just love the colors of that. And there's number 2. Inexpensive, cheap, little small PDFs. Tiny Modernist, one of my favorite stitchers, designers, I should say. I've met her a few times at the Evertote Stitch North retreats. She had this exclusive called Magic of Christmas. I'm pretty sure Laura from La Di Da Designs has started it or has it kitted. Because I'm Canadian, I can only get PDFs. That's okay. It's so pretty. I love it. And then she had a holiday wreath drum exclusive design. Again, I want to experiment with more smalls. So, and even like this is just like a simple band. It's beautiful. Again, in typical Tiny Modernist fashion. Some vibrant colors. Ornament series with some animals. There's that. What else did I get? I made duplicates. I see this. Oh, Heartstring Samplery, Beth Twist, Bee Spicy Ornament. And it's like little bees with gingerbread. Again, the printout is kind of sucky. There we go. remove my face. And then she also did an out there ornament set. And we're a science fiction family. My husband and I, we watched The X-Files, and this is based on The X-Files. Star Trek, Star Wars, all that stuff. And Beth Twist did a series of 4 ornaments along that fashion. Believe, seek, renew, answer. They were just too cute, so I had to pick that up. Isn't that cute? And then, of course, hands-on designs. Had this beautiful Christmas folk design. And it's got some specialty stitches in it. I don't know if I'll finish it on a wooden paddle, but I will definitely, I'll probably end up framing it whenever I complete it, whenever I start it. I have so many projects, so little time. What else? Oh, this is from Tiny Martinist and Satsuma did a collaboration called The Festive Folk Tree. And they both are known for where their designs are just so full of these vibrant, bright, happy colors. And then this one. This is that song. I love this song. I See Trees of Green, Red Roses Too. And Beth Twist created a little pattern with that. So those are my Jingle Balls. So that's what I purchased. Again, nothing was accomplished. So now, this is kind of like a WIP parade, and this will probably be part 1. So earlier in 2024, I decided that when Pam announced the 24 starts in 2024, that I would participate. I have lots of kitted projects. I planned what I was going to start, and that those plans kind of went out the window, and I just started what I felt like starting. And the big question is, did I manage to do 24 starts in 2024? And it was tight. And there's another reason, the good thing the party was canceled, because I was able, because the party was canceled, so I had more time to take Christmas down and relax. I did get the 24 starts of 2024 in and started. So I have 2 piles. I have one of projects I started that are not on scroll rods. And then I have another section of 24 starts in 2024 that are on scroll rods. So what I think I'm going to do, and it's in no particular order, so bear with me, nothing's ironed unless it's on a scroll rod, nothing's ironed, so it might be wrinkly and crinkly and everything. Just bear with me as I go through. You can see this is the terrible at pointing. There we go. There's the stack of the starts that are not on scroll rods. What I might do, let's do the most difficult first, which is on scroll rods. So give me 2 seconds while I gather them and get them set up over here. And then I will be back and we will begin which 24 projects did I start in 2024. 1 second, please. Okay, I'm back and I hope this goes smoothly. Sorry for zipper sounds. Doing my best here. So these are the ones I started that are currently on scroll rods that I don't want to take off the scroll rods till I'm done. It's a pain. It's not a pain, but there's some effort to get them on the scroll rods. This is in no particular order of starts or alphabetical in terms of project names. This is just how I have them stacked. They're on the desk here. Let's get to it. These are on scroll rods, so it might be a bit awkward, but I'm going to do my best, okay? So my first one is the Leela Studios. Autumn is as joyful. Again, it's in plastic. It's not too bad. It's a very cloudy, overcast day. We've had some snow, so there's not too much glare. There we go. So this was the fall, Samantha, the Hygge Stitcher. she hosted a stitch along for this. This was my first time stitching a Leela Studio project. My fabric, where is it? I have a new app. There it is. The fabric is 32 count Belfast linen, and I am using the called for DMC. And I could not stop this one. I loved it. And it's definitely coming into my rotation this year. I'm sorry. Let me get her. Oops, it's upside down. I'm sorry. Again, this is awkward because they're on scroll rods. There we go. So I started in the middle. I kept the same because I looked at the entire poem and I loved it. And I cannot see. I kind of see through the fabric. There we go. Oh, because I got lights on because it's so overcast. There's some, I don't know what you want to call it, shadows. I'm sorry. So I am absolutely loving this so much. Yeah. I can see why people are addicted to Leela Studios patterns. Which brings me to, which one's this? Okay, this was, some of these starts are small starts and some are good, like that was a good size start. So Hawk Run Hollow. I do like Hawk Run Hollow. I have watched a lot of FlossTubers do Hawk Run Hollow. They are not small. So the one I started was a year at Hawk Run Hollow. There's this one. I was terrible in writing some of these things. So some of these start dates I know, but I don't know. This is one of those. I know it was in May because I was started on this square. And the fabric is 32 count Belfast linen in sand by Picture This Plus, using the call for MPI silk threads. This is the first time I used MPI silks, and I'm in love. It's a very sad start. Which way is it? There we go. It's not the best start. I started with the May block, so that middle May block I started. It's sad, but it's a start. And I absolutely love the silks. First time ever working, so this one, we're supposed to start to say flowers. That's the block I started. It was a small start, but it's a start. All right, the next one. This is Carrie and Caroline from Roxy Floss Co. Oops. There we go, make sure it's right side up. This is the leap year. Remember, there was a leap year start, really big ass app, big ass project for the leap year. And Caroline and Carrie were showing this earlier in the season, and I knew, oh, I know they were gonna do fabric and floss for this. And sure enough, they did. I snagged me a kit. I kitted it up, I snagged it through Evertaupe and Roxy Floss Co. It's a peacock, a unicorn, and a badger by the Scarlet Letter. And this is, there we go. Now you had two choices, like anything with this particular pattern. You can stitch it on a lighter color fabric and do all the fill-in of the dark green, or you just stitch it on green fabric and just don't do the fill-in. I chose to do the green fabric, 36 count pub crawl with the Roxy Floss Co. Evertaupe floss conversion. Oh my goodness. And this was started in February. I know that much because it was the leap year BAP, big ass project. So that's as far as it got. And this was my first time stitching, whoops, on 36 count. I'm losing the project here, sorry. Anyways, it was my first time stitching on 36 count, and it's dark fabric. It was a bit of a struggle, but then once I got used to it and plugged away at it, I was doing pretty good. Pretty well. I did pretty well. All right. Oh, this was, I'm losing one here. Let's do some rearranging here. Sorry. So this is, oh my goodness. Hold, please. I am losing. My desk isn't that big in my office here. The needle's gone. I hopefully didn't drop it, or it's in my bin. All right. So this next one was in my other Leela studio, and I started this like November 1st, November 2nd, and it's the Halloween Quaker by Leela Studio. This was a birthday present from my son and his girlfriend, and I am stitching this on the called for fabric, 32 count murky Belfast linen by Picture This Plus, and I am using the called for Classic Colorworks thread, and then of course there's DMC 310, which is like the witch and stuff. And this was another one I absolutely loved. Oh my goodness, I loved this. I loved all my projects this year, and here we go. Make sure. Sorry. I loved it. I'm a center starter, so I did the witch. I've got more fabric than I need. I know that, but I just loved it. And we started with the witch because I wanted to start with the witch as the center. So that was a really good start. I thoroughly enjoyed it. All right. So the next one on my rods is what was my birthday stitch along. Stitch Matilda with us. This was project Caroline finagled me into. Let me find the, there it is, there's the stats. So, this was at a Stitch North retreat last spring, 2024 spring retreat at Stitch North. And Caroline said she just loves this project, and she, you know, okay, I'll buy it. It's outside my comfort zone because it's on 40 count linen. I've never stitched on 40 count 1/2. A lot of stitchers who are used to the higher counts, lower counts like 32 count. 32 count is my comfort zone. Doing the peacock unicorn badger was 36 count. And that was dark fabric, so it was a bit of an adjustment, but I got the hang of it. And so then 40 count. And I decided to do it as my birthday start in August. My birthday is in August. So this was my birthday stitch along, Stitch Matilda with us. And I call it a start along. It was open-ended. You started when you could, you finished, if you finished, great. I knew I wasn't gonna finish. It was August. August, we tried to squeeze as much summer as we can because we know fall is coming and winter and all that. And so I thoroughly enjoyed it. Matilda Clark. So they did a Roxy Floss Co. thread floss conversion. So that's what Shakespeare Peddler, Teresa Bennett. There we go. Try to. And then I found myself falling in love with this project. The colors are very soft. They're muted. It's a reproduction sampler. I love reproduction samplers. And this is as far as I got it. So 40 count biscuit. Again, I apologize. We have very crappy, watch the my crappy lighting. I usually try to do natural light, but it's very dark and dreary today. You can see very soft muted colors, and it's just turning out so well. It's definitely probably going to come out for my birthday again in August of this year. We'll see. I'm very much a fly by your seat of my pants kind of girl. All right, and then we've got the next scroll rod. This is my final scroll rod project, and it was the sampler. Excuse the zipper. Where is it? There it is. Samplers. It was for Sampler September, and this was Agnes Kerr 1830 by Ellen of Maximum Cross Stitch. And of course, we find the project under here. Agnes Kerr. So this was started September 1st for Sampler September. This project has two options: specialty stitches or straight cross stitch. I decided to do straight cross stitch, and I am stitching this on 32 count biscuit, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it as well. Like, I had a lot of fun this year with the projects I started. 32 count biscuit by Roxy Floss Co. with the call for Roxy Floss Co. threads. Again, this was created, and it is as far as I got. I did a center start. I'm not doing the specialty stitches. I love the red. Again, there's a lot of I have pot lights in my office, and normally the natural light's enough to give me lights, but not today. So sorry again for the shadowing. I'll have to figure it out. Anyway, so that is the scroll rod pile. Now let me get the non-scroll roll pile closer to me. 1 second, please. All right, Ria's 24 starts for 2024 part 2. The ones that aren't on scroll rods. Again, I apologize for any zipping and unzipping. These are not on scroll rods, so they will be wrinkled. I don't iron. So this is what I started last year in January 1st start, and it is by 1897 Schoolhouse Stitchers, my precious jewel. Let me find the stats on there. It is by Anne Alice Townsend, again a reproduction sampler. And I am stitching this on 32 count ancient by Picture This Plus, using the called for threads, which are Gentle Arts and Weeks Dye Works. This tree, there it is. I would have been further along if it weren't for that tree. I had words for that tree. It's a funky tree. It was easy to get one stitch off in certain areas. I don't know how many times, like you can see there's something I had started. It took me like 4 or 5 tries. Like I would start the tree, and then I do something over here, and then I realized I screwed up, so then I'd have to frog it. So it was not like the whole tree, but sections of it. It was frustrating. But I'm really happy with it on this linen, and I can't wait to see. Yeah. But I really enjoy it, and I really fell in love with the ancient linen by Picture This Plus. I ended up ordering a bunch more. This was originally on scroll rods because I had ordered a big chunk of fabric, and then I cut it down. Again, these are not in any particular order. This I started, this was from Evertote, and Hannah created this, and I bought it as a kit with the project bag when it first came out. When did it come out? 2022. And it's the Stash Squirrel. Absolutely love it. Let me find my, there it is, Stash Squirrel. So this was stitched on 16 count Ada called Pirouette. So it's a very pretty pink. the called for Roxy Floss Co threads. And I hadn't stitched on Aida in so long. If you're into the cross stitch, you know Aida tends to be the fabric that you start stitching on usually. Not everybody, but a lot of us, right? And it really brought back memories. Here's what I've got so far. It's very fun geometric patterns to turn into a squirrel. I really thought, but anyways, for this, so Aida, I don't stitch on a lot of Aida. Like that, not anymore. That's what we started on. That's what I started stitching on. And stitching on this project really brought back the memory of when I first discovered cross stitch. I was in first year college. I was boarding with an older lady in London. I went to Financial College, and I had picked up, it's my teddy bear one that's down in my studio. I picked up this cross stitch kit that was of course on Aida, and it was just like, I was sitting, because I was alone at night, I had finished my homework or my studying, and I worked on this. And it was just the excitement and the thrill of discovering this art form that was new to me, that had been around in ages. At the time, there was no such thing as reproduction samplers. Linen was, I didn't even know linen existed. Everything was on Aida. And it brought back the memory of that first time of putting needle and thread to fabric to create a picture, an image, and the art, and just the joy of that repetitive in and out of creating crosses. And it kind of brought that memory back to me. And so it was really fun to stitch on Aida again. So I do have another project somewhere in here that is also on Aida that I'm thoroughly enjoying. So this is another floss. This is another, I bought the fabric with the bag. That's all it came with. Not the fabric, I bought the bag and the pattern. It's Kitchen Witch by Sterling Stitches, and that was in 2022. And then, where is it? Kitchen Witch, where are you? Give me one. There it is. So this is by Sterling Stitches. I did kit it up. I had a piece of fabric I had set aside for it, and I was okay with it. Oh, I got the threads. So the threads are chalkboard and silver birch. There's only 2 threads. Oh, silver birch and grunge. And the silver birch and grunge are in the cauldron. I had a fabric, but I wasn't 100% sure about it. So then I signed up for the Roxy Floss Co. Mystery Linen Club. I'm in the traditional. There's a modern. I have not seen anybody, maybe it's out there, sharing what they got in the modern fabric club. But this was the very first fabric that we received. I'm in the 28 count because the other counts were sold out that I wanted. And so this was the very first fabric from the traditional Evertote Roxy Floss Co. Fabric Club. And it's 28 count mystery linen. I think they maybe have named it since. But it is stunning, and it was perfect for Kitchen Witch. It was perfect for Kitchen Witch. And yes, it's right side up. So I got I'm almost got wit. I am loving, and I'm sure the camera's not picking up the modeling of this. It is stunning. There's a little bit of pub crawl green in there. It's stunning. And I can't wait to get this finished. But that was another start. And these were starts, the Stash Squirrel in this, and there's another one somewhere that I started in October before I went to the Stitch North retreat at the end of October. Okay, next one. This was the one for Caroline's 50th birthday in July. So I know I started this, I think it was July 7th. And if you follow, you know it was a collaboration with Evertote, Roxy Floss Co, and Gigi at the Artsy Housewife. Weeds and wildflowers. Absolutely stunning. And my fabric, it's Buttercup, and I'm pretty sure it's Buttercream. Buttercream. And 32 count with the called for Roxy Floss Co threads. And I'm pretty sure Gigi has it on her website with DMC threads or something, but oh my god. And then of course the exclusive needle minder. There we go. I have to point to it for the camera to say I know what that is. But I'm loving it. Again, there's probably FlossTubers and Instagram where it's done. I am a start along. I join stitch alongs to start along. I never finish a stitch along. Oh, what's this one? Oh, this is something I think I did earlier. What is this one? All right, this I picked up at Jacob Palooza, but I didn't start it till like January, February of 2024. Excuse me. I have a full house. Our cats are up to something. I hear Amanda laughing. So this is Modern Folk Embroideries, a Dutch, in the Garden of Holland, a Dutch sampler, 1857. I picked this up at Jacob Palooza. Let me look up my stats. In the Garden of Holland, that's what it is. There it is. So, Jacob originally had it charted with, I believe, DMC. I love Jacob's. Yeah, it's originally charted for DMC. So I worked with Carrie and a bit here at home with a Roxy Floss conversion. This is the first time I ever started a conversion. It's a bit overwhelming. It's a very small start, but it's a start. It's on 32 count linen and speculoos by Roxy Floss Co and Evertote. And this is my itty, here we go, focus, itty bitty start. Come on. I hope it's focusing, there it is. Which is this dude. There's fancy pantaloon dude in the middle. Yeah, it was a bit overwhelming because it was doing it myself. I know they have their own conversion now on the website, so I might tweak some of my thread changes, but I don't know. But I'm really happy with what I've started with so far now that I'm looking at it again with fresh eyes. And yeah. All right, this one. Which one is this? Okay, this was another sampler September, but it was for September 2023. I picked it up at Stitch North Spring 2023 because it was going to be the sampler September stitch along. But I had no idea what turn, I had no idea the change in direction my life took in August of 2023, end of July, beginning of August 2023, when we put our house on the market and decided to move here closer to my in-laws in Sarnia. So this was September's Revenge, again by Ellen, Maximum Cross Stitch. Absolutely love it. So I bought it and kitted it in 2023 with full intentions to start in September with everybody else, sampler September. But September 2023, I was in the midst of boxes and chaos and everything in between. So I started it this year. It's on 32 count linen and biscuit by Roxy Floss Co, using the call for Roxy Floss Co. threads. It's all on the Evertote website. I forgot to write down when I started it. I assume I started it in September. It might be in my Instagram. I don't know. But I started... Is it right side? Yeah. Come on, there we go. And there's cat hair all over it. The house. The one side of the house with the line. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It was fun. It was fun. So that was another start. I told you I did do my 24 starts in 2024. And that's why. Okay, this was a Christmas gift in 2023. And Borealis Fox by the Primitive Hair. And we were very fortunate to be able to see the Northern Lights here in May. When did I start this? Let me look it up. I started it around April, just in time, yeah, end of April, beginning of May, around the time of the Northern Lights. And it's on the called for 30 count Tempest linen. I have to decide which way's up and which way's down. Linen by Primitive Hair, using the called for DMC and threadwork threads floss. Thanks. You can hear my son coughing. I'm sorry. He's feeling better, but he has the COVID cough. That's why I'm locked in my office. I want to be able to take my daughter shopping before she goes to England. But so yeah, it's a small start. There's one thread I don't have, I think. I will know. But yeah, it's just, there's metallic thread as well that's going to be going in this, which I think is what I'm missing. Yeah, I'm missing the metallic thread that is supposed to run through the, yeah. I'm on a fox kick. I realize this is another fox. Yeah. Again, it's not ironed. I'm sorry. Constant focus on my face. So it's a start. All right. Oh yes, this was one I decided, this is the one that taught me that I really like my scroll rods and I need to get more so I can have more projects on scroll rods. So this is Blackbird Designs. I'm a Blackbird fan. A Little Bit of Spring, which was another present I received. Stunning. Oh, I just love their stuff. And it is, there it is. So it's on 32 count linen in speculoos by Roxy Floss Co. using the called for Weeks Dye Works and Gentle Arts floss. I was tired of fighting with the fabric. When I started up again, I'm going to do an assessment as my project because I got to get everything into this new app that one of my table mates at Stitch North in October got me on to get all my kitted projects on. And so right now these are in the app. So once I get everything organized, then I'll know what scroll rods I need for certain projects and then focus on finishing some of the scroll rolled projects so I can free up those scroll rods. Anyways, I just started the border. I was just getting frustrated because I had it in a Q-snap and I was getting frustrated fighting with the excess fabric because it's a good chunk of fabric. Again, 32 count linen in speculoos, Weeks Dye Works and Gentle Arts threads. And that is my little start, and I apologize for the lighting. So when I pick up this project again, it is going on scroll rods. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is going on scroll rods. Okay, this is another Primitive Hair one. This is a little one. And it's a, again, it was started in October. 1692. They missed one. It's just a monochromatic piece. Primitive hair, 30, what's the fabric? It's called 30 count jack-o'-lantern. So it's pre-stamped with Witching Hour by Gentle Art floss. This is pretty because it's 30 count. That's as far as I got, 16.9, and I started the 2. Hopefully it's in the frame. I'm looking forward to it. And there's a needle. I really should remove the needle of some of these. I think I will go through this later and remove some of the needles. And again, not ironed. And then going back in. So. And this is like a Roxy, an Ever tote bag I got a long time ago. A wedge tote. Oh. Okay, this is the holiday countdown that came out December 1st. I do not have a finished image, but I think Jacob, if you follow Caroline on Evertote, her FlossTube channel, you will see the finished. It's a very sad start. It is, of course, the holiday countdown collaboration with Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery, Carrie, Roxy Floss Co., Caroline, Evertote. And what is the name of this fabric? I think it's 32 count Glacier. Yeah, 32 count Glacier. And I think Carrie and Caroline said it's going to be part of the regular lineup of fabric. It is stunning blue. And it's all Mary's hand start. And there's the exclusive needle minder. And there was a Christmas ornament that was on my tree. It's now packed away. But there's my sad start. And I love the colors. I have already unwrapped every single chart day, all 25. So I've got the floss on a floss ring. Absolutely stunning. Oh, I will probably focus on that in February. I don't know. I ordered the February kit. Okay, this one. So yeah, I will get it done. This is something I also started. This was from the Heartsy Housewife Patreon. Christmas hat, because it reminds me of Artemis. Artemis is a traditional colored tortie. And when I was at Stitch North, end of October 2024, I had Hannah do a floss conversion for me, because Gigi has it converted to DMC. Yeah, no, Gentle Arts, Classic Color Works, and DMC and Weekstime, which is like a hodgepodge, right? And so I had Hannah do a floss conversion, and this is just a piece of remnant of 32 count speculas. I think it's speculas. Let me double check. They had at Stitch North in the fall, Caroline crew had a bin of clearance fabric. Yes, it's 32 count speculas. So these are just remnants left over from cutting the custom cuts for some of their projects. So I snagged this. So I've showed this before, but I'm working on the frame. I definitely want to get it done at some point, but I love the colors, bright, happy. So that was something, I know that was started in November, early December. No, November. I started in November. That was it. All right. It's growing, the pile. All right, we're getting to the end. Getting to the end. Okay, so between Christmas and New Year's, around the 27th, 28th, I did an assessment. did I get my 24 starts of 2024 in? And I didn't. I was short. I was short. So these are the ones. 1, 2, yeah. So these next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is, yeah, this is the 2 and 1, 6 projects that I was short. So these were quick starts that I did in the last few days. So this is, yes, I took the needle out of this. Make sure I've got the right one. So this was back 2023. Plum Street Samplers and Her String Sampler did a collaboration, the Float Like a Butterfly, Sting Like a Bee. So Paulette Stewart did the float, pincushion, and then Beth Twist from Heart String Samplery did the sting portion. I had picked up and kitted both because I thought they were such a cute, and I wanted to do smalls. And so this is, oh, I got it right here. Both are on 40 count. So I really stepped out of my comfort zone this year, and not only one project in 40 count, but a couple others. So I'm really, and I'm enjoying this. It's not, and this is a lighter color because it's an Edinburgh linen mocha, country mocha Newcastle linen. That was at 40 count. And this is Float Like a Butterfly. Again, sorry for the glare. And that is this one. So these are starts. Where did I start? Yep. This is the right side up. Called for DMC in both these projects. So there's the float. And then Beth Twist has the Sting Like a Bee. I'm a little chaotic here. Pin cushion, the matching companion pin cushion to Float Like a Butterfly. This one is 2 starts. I so screwed up. Yes, there we go. It's a very small, you can barely see it. Okay, hopefully it focuses. It's just one of the butterfly wings. So let's see if this works. There we go. Boop. As you can see, it's a very small start. I make working copies of all my patterns. I have a really good printer, and this one I did not make a high quality working pattern. So I was going to do a middle start, which is right there. That's this wing you're seeing that I have started. And you can see the wing is attached to the bee with the stripes. And the stripes are the dark ones are, again, the typical DMC 3371. Very common dark brown color. It pays to check your copied pattern with the original. So 3371, the dark brown, is a solid square in the pattern. The other one, which one was that? Which is Ecru, which is the wings, is a square that's got stripes in it. But when I photocopied it, I didn't do it in the high resolution copy, so it showed as the all solid squares. So I'm happily stitching going, wait a minute, the bees, and I'm looking at the photo and I'm looking at what I stitched. So I had to take it all apart and start all over again. So I would have had a lot more done. I would have had the bee's body done, but because, yeah, lesson learned. Lessons learned. It's all part, and I was tired. I wasn't feeling well because I now realize I was fighting COVID. So it is what it is. All right, so this is another one. I picked this up a while ago. It's Tiny Modernist. Yule Goddess. I started this yesterday. The Yule Goddess. I just love this. And I picked this up as a kit from Stitches Central. The fabric, I believe, here it is. 30 count Grasshopper by Weeks Dye Works linen. It's a bit higher, 30 count. 32 is my comfort, but it's actually turning out, which way is it? This way. So I just started it yesterday. Got a skein in. I got a skein, well, not a skein. I started and then I left to go pick up the sushi for dinner to go into town. Called for DMC, yeah. I should know that. Called for DMC. So I'm starting in the center, which is the goddess's waistband. And then there's like a sunflower just below it. So that gives you an idea of where I've started. Thoroughly love that. Okay. What's this one? This is another, this I started yesterday. It's still in my nerves. I've got more fabric than I need. Again, it's another Beth Twist heartstring samplery. It is Flanders Fields Biscornu. And I'm using the Weeks Dye Works called for threads on 32 count gray linen by Weeks Dye Works. Again, I'm sorry about the glare. So it's still in the nourish because I started it yesterday. And I'm starting this top part. So there's like, because it's kind of upside down, but you got the border and then the poppy. So I started like a corner border, and then the poppy. I got 2 threads floating about here. Don't know if it's focusing or not there. It's a sad start, but it's a start. Again, it was yesterday. I came back from picking up sushi and started it. I have more fabric than I need on this. I know I have to cut it down, but it's by Biscornu. All right, what's this one? I've got 3 more starts of 2024 left. And that wraps this up. So this is, I picked this up, give me a second. It was a kit from Stitch, it was Stitch North, the Pastime Pieces booth. I picked this up again in, I think it was spring 2024. Was it spring 2023? No, it was spring 2024 because we were in this house. It's Scattered Seeds Samplers Summer Sweets Pin Keep. Because again, I wanted to experience stitching smalls. And you're gonna see a lot of smalls here just because I thought to make my 24 starts in 2024, the smalls would be perfect. It's not a big start, again, because I was under pressure. And it was kitted up with the threads, Classic Color Works. There's some DMC that they had, Weeks Dye Works. They're in baggies. And this is the Edinburgh linen. I think it's 40 count. 36 count Edinburgh Vintage Country Mocha. Using 1 strand over 2 linens, and then I got into it and I decided I want to do 2 over 2. I wasn't liking the 1 over 2. So it's just a very, very, very small start. Again, it was Pastime Pieces. It was a kit. Hopefully it shows. Not a big start. And the kit came with the finishing, like there's the fabric and trim. Karen from Stitching Owl has offered to help me when I get any of these smalls finished, to fully finish it, because she is the fully finished smalls queen, that one. And you should go check out her channel because she got her stained glass owl full coverage piece finished. She finished it at Stitch North in the fall and got it framed recently. It's on her Instagram page. Stunning. Stitching Owl. Anyways, so then this was another kit I picked up at Stitch North. Caroline did not have to talk me into this one. I just picked it up. It's my other Ada, 20 count Ada. I think it's Candy Apple. Oh, I should tell you what it is. Pennsylvania Christmas Deer by Shakespeare Peddler. 30 count Ada, I think it's the candy apple. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that stunning? And so this was my start. I should remove the needle. The thread, Legendary. So all by Roxy Floss Co. Evertoad. I'm pretty sure this is candy apple. And this brings me to my final 2024 start. It is not in a bag, it's in a box. So in my last video, I talked about Tiny Modernists collaborated with Stitches Central, which is an L&S in London, Ontario, for an Advent countdown. Again, it's a small start, but it's a start. It was started in Christmas. I'm using the called for, you can use called for DMC, or they have a mixture of Gentle Arts, Classic Color Works, Weeks Dye Works. What else is in here? Classic, yeah, all Classic Color Works, Weeks Dye Works, and Gentle Arts threads. There's a combination. They're all in baggies, but very typical. Just, you know, Tiny Modernist. She's very colorful, very colorful. The fabric is 32. Let me look it up. Where is it? Advent calendar. I do not have a picture of the finished project. Again, I have more than enough fabric, and I'm okay with it. 32 count Laguna in jade by Picture This Plus. Called for Weeks Dye Works, Classic Color Works, and DMC. So I'm stitching most of this with the Weeks Dye Works, Classic Color Works, and Gentle Arts. But I'm doing the back stitch, such as here, where it says Merry Christmas. I am using DMC for that. So I started it. So this is the top, and it's going to be a band, right? It's going to go down. There's lights, there's a tree. So how she has it, because I don't want to show you the pattern. Give me a second here. Here we go. I just opened up 6 envelopes. They come in envelopes. Let me cover the pattern piece just a second. You kind of get a hint of what the entire pattern is going to be. Focus, focus. So it's a band sampler. And then we've got a series. Yeah, this is the card that came with it because she broke it up in 25 sections, right? So this is how I've opened, how many envelopes I have opened. So it's each day you've got an envelope that has a piece of paper like this in it, revealing the next project. So I'm working on the band, then the tree, Christmas lights, house, and then this border. So as you can tell, in typical Rhea fashion, it's a start. So those are my 24 starts in 2024. I am, before I move on to books, it's January 1st, and I have, give me 1 second here, sorry. I have a start. I am going to start this. That's what this fabric is behind me. Again, Jacob, gotta love Jacob. Belle de Quinn Birdies. This is his stitch along for 2025 that starts like, oh my God, Jacob. Jacob, Jacob. Oh my goodness. Stunning. So that is 32 count dirty porcelain. thread because it's monochromatic, and I know if you follow on Instagram and other FlossTube channels, you're going to see a million different combinations because he leaves it very open-ended. I think Fallow Red is one of Jacob's favorite reds. I have decided, for some reason, I've got another project of his that is also very similar. It's also in Merlot, and I just love the Merlot with the dirty porcelain. Of course, the lighting sucks. Anyways, I'm going to start that this evening. It is a free-for-all for meals around here. We have so much food. So we'll eat. You eat when you want to eat. Have some oliebollen, have some fruit, have some veggies and dip, have some ham, have some potatoes, have some tofu. Because I'm plant-based. I'm a plant-based. I also do meat, but I do mostly vegetarian, vegan. And I have some leftover tofu that's really nice. I'll probably do that. So that is my plan to start tonight. So now I will film a part 2 probably next week when Laura's away on all the other WIPs that I have, you know, my WIP parade part 2. So these are the WIPs. The ones that I hope to present next week are the WIPs that I started pre-2024. And that'll also give me a chance to wrap around what I have. In terms of my plans for 2025, the 24 starts of 2024 and this app have showed me Ria is really good at stash. Ria's gifted at accumulating stash. It's my superpower. But Ria needs to focus on getting some finishes. So that's not to say there will not be purchases. It's not to say that there will be no new starts. I mean, I am doing a new start tonight. Not to say that, but I need to focus on finishing some of my other WIPs. And if I can focus even on some of these smalls that I started, that would be great. So again, there's not going to be new purchases. Like, there will be purchases. It's Ria. There will be new starts like tonight. And I also signed up for the Modern Folk Embroidery Evertote Roxy Floss Co. Valentine. I think Friday they open the doors for the floss clubs. So they have 2, Evertote and Roxy Floss Co. are going to have 2 floss clubs. One is the ABC, where you get every month you get so many floss, like in alphabetical order of their core line, and then there's an other floss club where you will get one-of-a-kind flosses. I'll probably sign up for the ABC one just so I can have the entire rainbow. So that's this Friday. Oops, this belongs to the box. So those are my plans. So for 2025, it's definitely focus on finishes, but there will be some new starts and purchases. I do have some new purchases downstairs. I had to do, I kitted up a couple patterns. I went to Stitch It Central one day in December. I just needed to get out of the house. All right, so that's that. I'm gonna pause. That's the end of Floss Cross Stitch. I have a stack of books that I received for Christmas that I would like to share. It's mostly nonfiction, and some of it might be boring for you, but for me, it's got me all excited. And so if you would like to stick around for that, great. If you want to just say, okay, I've watched enough of Ria and her cross stitch and her crazy ass pile that she's got sitting at her feet right now. This will be fun putting this away. So be it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Don't forget to create a little magic every day with needle, thread, and fabric. It's good for the heart, it's good for the soul, it's good for the mind. All right, let me go get my stack of books and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Welcome if you stuck around for the books. I have a pile. So we are a family of book lovers. We love books in this family. Jacob, if you watched his FlossTube for the holiday countdown, he talked about Christmas Eve. I think it's in Iceland. Don't make me say that word. It started with a J. It is basically it was tradition, I think it's Iceland, that on Christmas Eve, books are given as gifts. I've always been an avid reader. Some of my earliest memories is my dad taking me to the local library and all the adventures, all the books, Dr. Seuss, Pale Green Pants with nobody inside them. And we have so many books. And then I've encouraged my kids to be book readers. And when they were babies in the crib, I always had books in the crib with them. That was just what I did, and encouraged them. Appropriate books, right? Because you don't want them to get hurt, like, soft cloth books, things like that. As they got older and they were sitting up, I knew they were up from their nap because I could hear them on the monitor, but I would let them be because most of the time I would walk into their bedroom when whoever was in the crib and they were sitting up reading one of the books I had placed at their feet during nap time. And also, if they had a hard time getting to sleep, reading books helped to soothe them. So we have, like you can see, I'm in my office, so these are workbooks. There's 2 more shelves here. There's bookshelves downstairs. My daughter Amanda, who lives at home, she's got so many books in her, and she's run out of bookshelves. We have to get her more bookshelves. Everybody loves books. And so we did Christmas on Christmas Eve, and I got a pile of books. And I just want to share. Some of these are fun to read. They're all nonfiction. I do have a lot of fiction, but this time around it was nonfiction. It was ironic that it was Christmas Eve, which also happens to be that Icelandic tradition of gifting books on Christmas Eve, but we just happened to celebrate. So there's a couple of books in this pile this one's one of them, that I need for a very intense psychology of eating course. I'm a holistic nutritionist that I am continuing education course that I'm working on, and I'm really behind on. So anyways, this is the first one. This is really funny because Daniel's girlfriend, Kate, she's doing her master's in psychology, and she also got this book for Christmas because we both needed it for our courses. This one is called The Body Keeps Score, Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma by Bessel van der Kolk, MD. So this is for a course, and trauma can cause issues in the body. So that's one of this. It talks about trauma is a fact of life, aftermath of combat, workaholics, alcoholics, physical violence, and the body keeps score. So there's tips. I haven't read this. Based on Dr. van der Kolk's research and that of other leading specialists, exposes the tremendous power of our relationships to hurt and heal, using neurofeedback, meditation to sports, drama, and yoga. So there's that. This is one fun, The Notebook, A History of Thinking on Paper by Roland Allen. And I saw this at Chapters, and I said, I want this. We see notebooks everywhere we go, but where did these indispensable implements come from? I'm a notebook fanatic. How do they revolutionize our lives, and how can using a notebook help change the way you think? In this wide-ranging history, Roland Allen reveals how the notebook became our most dependable and versatile tool for creative thinking. And and it's just, I haven't started reading it, but it's fascinating. So that is on there. And then I love the actor Stanley Tucci. And this is what I ate in a year. If you follow him on Instagram, he does cooking, he has cookbooks, and sharing food is one of the purest human acts. And this is mostly for me, but it also is key in my Institute of Psychology course that I'm taking, because food is life. Stanley Tucci records 12 months of eating in restaurants and kitchens, on film sets and press junkets, at home and abroad, with friends, family, strangers, and occasionally just by himself. So that's there. This is by Mark Carney, Values, Building a Better World for All. What do you value? Our world is full of fault lines, growing inequality in income and opportunity, systemic racism, health and economic crisis from a global pandemic, mistrust of experts, the existential threat of climate change, deep threats to employment in a digital economy with robotics on the rise. Mark Carney argues that these fundamental problems and others like them stem from a common crisis in values. Drawing on the turmoil of the past decade, he shows how market economies have evolved into market societies where price determines the value of everything. When we think about what we as individuals value most highly, we might list fairness, health, the protection of our rights, economic security from poverty, the preservation of natural diversity, resources, and beauty. The tragedy is these things we hold dearest are too often the casualties of our 21st century world, when they ought to be our bedrock. Mark Carney offers a vision of a more humane society and a practical manifesto for getting there. There's more. So I always strive, like when it comes to voting, etc., to vote for a candidate that leans more, none of them do, but 100% towards government for the good of all, as opposed to the government good for the billionaire buddies. Anyways, so it'll be an interesting read. Again, this is another book for my course, Healing Myths, Breaking the Spell of Old Illusions, Reclaiming Our Power to Heal by Donald M. Epstein. Healing Myths, Healing Magic. Healing Myths, Healing Magic examines the deeply ingrained stories or myths we commonly hold about our bodies, about how our bodies heal, myths that can actually inhibit healing. Healing is not always available. These myths we accept without question have a powerful, magically suggestive effect. Dr. Epstein contends that unless we question the myths that control our lives, we will continue to make the same healing choices we have been conditioned to make, even if those choices are killing us. Social, biomedical, religious. Healing Myths, Healing Magic. Here's another one for my course, Health at Every Size by Linda Bacon, PhD, The Surprising Truth About Your Weight. And I always tell my clients, a lot of my clients come in focusing on the number on the scale. I be honest, that's how I started too. But the more I've been in this field, the more I find we are too focused on the number of the scale. And sometimes the people with the lowest weight have the unhealthiest bodies. So this is interesting. Fat isn't the problem, dieting is. A society that rejects anybody whose body shape or size doesn't match an impossible ideal is the problem. A medical establishment that equates thin with healthy is the problem. What is the solution? Yeah, now that I've worked in this field, it's so true. We always equate health with the number on the scale. That's not always the case. For me, I have long Frisian legs. I've always been long and lean. Do have a tendency post-menopause with weight gain. I look at my two daughters, they're two. One's 5'1", the other one's 5'4", but they're both built very differently. And I have noticed that I've noticed that. And so in my upbringing of those two girls, I've made sure that they knew they were more than the number on the scale. Sometimes the doctors have to weigh them, and two different bodies, but two very healthy girls. That's the main thing. These next two books Laura got from me in England. This one's called Republic, Britain's Revolutionary Decade from 1649 to 1660, which is the Civil War, Charles I getting executed, Cromwell being the complete idiot that he is. I do not like what Cromwell did. Oliver Cromwell reshaped the entire British Isles, and he was a pretty intolerant individual. Very influential, but intolerant. So, and then the next one she got me, which is I haven't heard of, is Enchanted Creatures Are Monsters and Their Meanings. She knows I like mythology, different mythologies, etc. And this is new to me. From ancient mythology to modern science fiction, we've had to confront the monsters that lurk in the depths of our collective imagination. They embody our anxieties and our irrational terrors, giving form to what we don't wish to know or understand. Monsters have helped us to manage the extraordinary complexity of our minds and to deal with the challenges of being human. Natalie Lawrence delves into 15,000 years of imaginary beasts to uncover the otherworldly natural history that has evolved with our deepest fears and fascinations. Prehistoric cave monsters, serpentine hybrids, deep-sea leviathans, and fire-breathing kaiju. So yeah, it's true, because when you look at a lot of the monsters in mythology and stuff, there's roots. So the final book is, this is my very special book Dave got me from a publishing company in England. It is, I'm a history fanatic. So it has to do with Henry VIII's 6 wives. And it comes in its own cardboard sleeve. This is a book that I'm going to treasure forever. It is published by the London Folio Society. So most books, pages are kind of flimsy, you know. Here's a typical, this is the other hardcover, right? It's a fairly decent hardcover, paperback, a little flimsy. This is like very classic. You don't see as much anymore binding with the little ribbon bookmark, thick pages. So this is by Antonia Fraser, and she dives into, she's a new to me author, and I didn't know about her, and I looked into her. She's got a whole series of books. She's from England. She is actually a lady. She was born into wealth. Interesting. Look her up, Antonia Fraser. So growing up, you learn the history of Henry VIII. Henry VIII becomes king, has 6 wives, divorced, beheaded, died, annulled, beheaded, died, and then he died, right? Catherine Parr. And I just remember I was brought up in a very, we would call it evangelical. It was an immigrant religious community, went to a Christian school from grade 1 to grade 12. I remember learning about Henry VIII, and they kind of touched on it. So, and it was Protestant. And Catholics were evil. It was one of those. Like, my dad remembers as a kid growing up in the 1920s and 30s in the Netherlands, and one of his best friends was Roman Catholic. Monday through Saturday, they played. Sunday, they walked on opposite sides of the street and didn't acknowledge each other. So this is like hundreds of years of religious discrimination on both sides. So I knew Catherine of Aragon was Catholic. He divorced her to marry Anne of Boleyn, and so on and so on. But she was Catholic. That's all you know. She was Catholic, and she was a little over the top Catholic. That's what I taught. And then, of course, time goes on. And then I learned that they were married for over 20 years before he divorced her, created the Church of England because the Pope said no, and so that he could marry Anne Boleyn. So I just finished the section on Catherine of Aragon. So it was really neat to really get a much more in-depth background on who she was as a person. That's the thing with a lot of history, right? You lose the humanity of the people that you're reading about. So she really gives flesh to the bones in terms of the humanity of these women so far. Catherine of Aragon is what I just finished, getting into Anne Boleyn. And Catherine of Aragon, it's like, she put up with a lot. I didn't learn this in school, but I knew she was originally betrothed to Henry VIII's brother, Arthur. They were married. She was 16, I think, and he died. They got the sweating sickness, which was, they still don't know 100% what caused the sweating sickness. It lasted about 100 years, just like COVID, ebbs and flows. And she survived, but Arthur died. And then from Arthur's death to the time Henry VII died, and she was able to marry Henry VIII, her entire future was in limbo. She was from Spain, and she didn't really know the English language, and she was kind of trapped, hostage in England with Henry VII, almost holding her hostage and treating her horribly. They found letters where she's writing to her father and Henry VII saying, I don't have food for my household, help me out here. It involved her dowry, and then she ends up marrying Henry VIII, and that's, you know, the early days was the golden era, right? He was young, he was handsome, she was beautiful. Yes, she was older than him, but there was hope. There was hope and renewal after Henry VII. And of course, she couldn't produce the male heir. That was what it comes down to. And one thing I didn't realize, because I know she had stillborns, and then there was a young Prince Henry, that only lived like 52 days, and then he died as an infant, and a lot of stillborns. And she lost a baby. She had a stillborn. This is something I learned. Well, at the same time, Henry VIII's mistress, Bessie, was pregnant. And a few months after Catherine experienced yet another devastating stillbirth, this woman gave birth to a very healthy baby boy who was named Henry Fitzroy. So Fitzroy means bastard. And so he acknowledged Bessie's child Henry as his, but he was not a legal heir. But you can just imagine what would have gone through Catherine. Yes, all the royalty did it back then, but she kind of puts onto it like it probably did affect Catherine to a point, and she had to attend the celebrations and the baptism of Henry Fitzroy. And knowing that she couldn't produce the heir, but his mistress produced this healthy baby boy who unfortunately did die. I think it was the age of 17 he got sick. Mortality rates were so much higher back then, right? And so, yes, highly recommend this. Again, this is, let me look it up again. The London Folio Society is the publishing company, and they have a website. You can Google it, and they have some pretty amazing books. This has, of course, imagery, Catherine of Aragon and Henry in 1520. I think in 1533 is when the annulment went through and he married Anne. But I think the whole affair started in 1525, I believe. And so now I've just started about Anne Boleyn, and her background and how she ended up in the royal court and the wife of Henry VIII. And we know her story, her tragic story as well. Anyways, that's the books. So that's it. I am glad you stuck with me till the end. Please like and subscribe. I will hopefully be able to film part 2 of my WIP parade of anything that I started before 2024. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your week, whenever you watch this. Take care, happy stitching, create some magic with needle, thread, and fabric. Take care. Artemis, where are you? You're in there. I see you, you little monkey. The tinfoil didn't stop you, did it? Where are you? Oh my God, cat. Oh, you little monkey. Artemis. You can't leave the tree alone, can you? Tinfoil didn't stop you. I thought it would. Monkey.